Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Viewers of Gunjur TV Online, Gunjur Online TV, welcome to another episode of Straight Talk with Sulayman Ben Suwareh. Today, 10th of September 2020.
Assalamu alaikum.
We will be discussing major talking point of the past week. There are lots of them, but we're going to narrow it down to only three. As you know, this is only an hour program, and as we do it, we will start with the daily COVID-19 updates. Then we go to the main talking points. And today, inshallah, we should be talking about number one, the beef between the information minister and Gambia's renowned journalist, S.O. Williams. And also, economics will eventually have 5 years. Could you imagine an entire term of a president with a foreign forces when we have an entire standing army? And also the new tax at the airport will be discussed in details because we don't know what's going on. So quickly, I'll give you a brief update about daily COVID-19 updates. As you are all aware, COVID announced its arrival in our source in December 2019, and hence it is called COVID-19. Since its arrival, 28,221,383 people got infected so far, and out of that, 911,251 died. Number of people who recovered from COVID-19 stands at 20,226,811. Number of active cases. Currently, the number of people with COVID-19 is 7,083,322. And number of people with mild condition, 7,022,609. And number of people who are actively infected with COVID, which are seriously ill with COVID, stand at 60,713. Countries that are very close to the Gambia, there are now numbers for past 24 hours. All of them are not yet in, but so far Ivory Coast registered 18,924 and Senegal 14,150, and past 24 hours 48. Senegal definitely flattened the curve, and they are now coming down drastically. And it is worth mentioning, Senegal, of 36 countries evaluated, Senegal comes second. The way they handle the COVID-19, I think that is just remarkable. Gambia can learn a lot of lessons from Senegal. Mauritania so far recorded 9,885. Their numbers so far 24 hours are not yet in. And Gambia so far 3,330 cases. Past 24 hours, 37 new cases. It looks like the numbers are coming down, but as far as Gambia is concerned, we cannot just say we flatten the curve or we are that way. No, because the number of tests Gambia did actually pass is only 204. It's almost, disgraceful to tell you the fact. So it's like these people, they almost give up on COVID. Basically, let people to go and die. 200 tests when you should be doing thousands per day, is just not good enough. So it's just going to show you nothing is actually working in that country, and COVID put everything right in front of us, right on the spot. And this is the country which are very, very eager to open their tourism season in October. Mali so far recorded 2,909. Past 24 hours, they recorded 11 new cases. Guinea-Bissau, the numbers are going up again. So far, they have 2,275. And past 24 hours, they recorded 30 new cases. Sierra Leone so far 2,067 cases. Their numbers for past 24 hours are not yet in. Burkina Faso 1,476 cases they have so far, and Liberia 1,215 and 2 cases past 24 hours. So this the update we have about COVID-19. Now we come to the main show. So Ben, thank you very much once again for your time, and to the viewers of Gunjul TV online. You can actually watch this program in YouTube and also in Twitter. And please don't forget to share the video, and also don't forget to press the like button. Ben, welcome, and another. So as usual, introduce yourself, then we will go into discussion.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Sulayman Ben Suwareh from Bakau, Gambia, and presently in Birmingham, UK. Assalamu alaikum to all viewers and listeners on Fatu Radio. Thank you, Ahmed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ben, once again for that brief introduction. As usual, this program is about reviewing events of the past week. Sometimes there's so much news, but not all of them are equally important. So basically, what we're trying to do, we try to pick the important, key issues to bring it to the attention of the general public and to explain them better, because some of them, first, I am confused. So, we have three main talking points that we hope we can go through within 1 hour. And that is, we have the economic orders. They're going to be in the Gambia until 2021. And also there is an agreement, media censorship is here, is not there. So Williams and the Minister of Information. And also you hear the new tax. I see it as a two-finger salute to Gambians in the diaspora. President Barrow, when he forced it, he cannot stop talking about the diaspora, heaping praises upon praises on them. But now we know where they are. This is another kick in the guts, for the diaspora. Because to visit your family, you have to pay $20, and coming back again, you have to pay $20. If you think that is bad, these are going to be manually collected. Could you imagine if you come to the airport and you forget money at home? So, but Ben, this
Thank you, Ahmed.
beef between So Williams and Ibrahim Silla, what is it all about?
I think it's more than SO and Ibrahim Silla. It's unfortunate that the minister, I call him the Minister of Misinformation, have just sold his soul to the devil. Because the trend have been going on here. The QTV have come out to be what we all suspected, that it's nothing but about it's all a commercial enterprise. It's one way of controlling the narrative, one way of keeping certain elites to control the narrative. The case of SO Williams was not the first. We have the case of Sergio Brito, and who happened to leave, decided to resign from that position because he was censored. We had the case of Pasa Majau and others when they went to a panel, and that program was not aired, or was aired later, or I think it wasn't aired. Self-censored did happen there. We had the case about a program called Daraji. Daraji was one of their best programs they had, but it was taken off air because of the views being shared. It was taken off air. You can understand the best program you have. That was only program actually that was known from that platform, but they took the program off because of the views being shared on that program. And then again, this time around, So Williams was censored, and it's the immature way of doing things, for that matter. The program's already aired. It's already on YouTube. People have access to it. But these people cannot stand scrutiny. It's an indication that if we leave them, if we are not vigilant, these people will repress the people. The government. I don't want to call them a government. The cabal will repress the people. This is what their intention is. They don't want to be held accountable. They are corrupt. They are incompetent. Now, in the case of what S.O. Williams have said. It's nothing that have not been said, but it's the person who said it, because they knew the kind of coverage the program would have, but the program have already have its effect. But no, they in fact make sure people listen to the program. How incompetent! This is how incompetent they are. Probably, if they never try to censor that program, most people would not have listened to the program. I have not listened to the program, but the minute I had about the self-censor, because I did share the program, but I didn't have time to listen to it. But I went on to try to find it, and they finally brought the program again. But it's another point, not only about self-censor, it's about lying. Because Mr. Silla actually did not tell the truth. He did not tell the truth. People are not stupid. I mean, his narrative, it's technically saying that, yes, he made objections. This is the reason. Censorship comes in a different way. Censorship comes in a different way. He made his displeasure about the program to the management. And the management told SO, one of them told SO that, look, the program's been taken off. And because of the program was loaded by QTV, it's only QTV who can take that program off. Or YouTube. And it was determined that YouTube did not take the program off. How can you call yourself a minister for information and you are now known as the minister of misinformation? You see, as we said, if you give people positions that they are not qualified to do, what qualification did I think people underestimate the position of the Minister of Information and Infrastructure. It's really a high skilled position to handle. What qualification does he have? Being a news reporter or I mean journalist or what you call it does not qualify him to be anywhere near there. Now, if you give a person like that, if the person is not honest enough to accept a job like that, the person would never do the job properly. One, he cannot do it. He doesn't have what it takes to do it, but he will do anything to keep that job, because that job have given him social status that he would never dream of. I mean, people talk about principles. He never had the principles. If he had principles, he would not have accepted the job. If I was given any job, and I would never apply for a job that I am not qualified to do, but I am not confident that I can do. That's where honesty starts from. The other issue here is wider. We all know, I have seen the evidence that, I mean, the media manipulation is going underground. Media censorship is going underground. And as we said, it goes in different ways. At times, the journalists even self-censor themselves because of the virtue of the relationship they built with people in government. You see, and these people are very smart. What they do is they try to befriend you so that you cannot be a critic to them. I'm talking out of experience. I'm talking out of experience. Most of them tried it, but did not work with me. I can chat with you whatever you want behind the scenes. But if it comes to holding you accountable, I cannot see any difference from you or the other person. I am doing you a favor by holding you accountable. I am here for the interest of the people. I am here for the great interest of the greater good. But again, the level of poverty in that country makes it very difficult for most press officers, I mean, to be effective. Yes, most press houses have turned out to be PR, enterprise. Most press houses, literally almost all the press houses, one way or the other, are selling stories or doing PR for individuals or doing PR for agencies. This is why it's not been effective. This is why the only effective form of holding government accountable, it's in the diaspora or it's on social media. It's not on the mainstream media, and it's not from the opposition, because the opposition is suffering from the same problem. They suffer from the same, because they fraternize with the officers in the government, or they fraternize with people that are taking contracts from the officers in government who commit the corruption. This will bring us back to this 15 million been given to the Gambia Press Association. It's so unethical. It's so unethical on different levels. What a government should do to empower the press, it's not to give them cash. It only happens in countries where the executive want to induce the press. The Gambia Press Association are not, they have not suffered more than any other sector in the Gambia. Why can't we see the evidence or the commitment they have for the Gambia Press Union, why that commitment was not extended to other institutions? Ahmad, have you heard the government extend this for orphanages in the country? Have you heard that? What about all the communities? 15 million, they are struggling. You see the conditions of the health centers.
Yeah.
You heard the problems with a lot of other things. 15 million will go a long way to deal with some of these things. People are struggling to take the little they have to buy PPE for frontline workers and others. People are struggling to put a little bit of money together to help the frontline workers and other institutions. Why the press? Why the press? The press have other areas or ways to cushion up themselves. Once they take this money, I'll tell you, it will translate to censorship. One. Secondly, it's unethical, because of they should look at themselves. Do we suffer more than the other Gambians? Why other Gambians are not given priority? I think, it's completely the issue of censorship. But again, this is what they try to do with S.O. Williams. But they got it completely wrong again. They left-footed themselves by trying to muscle the press. And it's unfortunate that they don't understand that they can't. We have passed that era that you can monopolize or censor the media. It's the media is not controlled by any government anymore. It's impossible. The power of the people it's based on social media now. That's why the change is happening. And this government is unfortunate. They are dealing the business of running the affairs of over 2 million people. That's the unfortunate aspect of it. If it was a company or any other thing, we all know what would have happened. The company would have bankrupt, the CEOs would have been sacked. But in this case, we are again following this mentality that we are going to wait for elections. And we are going to wait for elections, and we are not doing what we are supposed to do in order to make sure that even those elections are determined. I think we should know that this government will do anything. They since they came to power, they've been found out that they lacked integrity. They've been found out they lack incompetence. They lack competency. It's been found out that they will do anything to survive, because that's the best thing that they can be in society. That's what they believe in. That's what they're holding on to. That's why I keep on saying, not a single minister in that cabinet can be called a competent person. And not a single minister in that cabinet would be called a person with integrity. It's a matter of time to be found out. Because if they have, and if anybody call up any minister, I can give you a reason why they are not competent. I can give you a reason why they don't have integrity. Because the government is completely corrupt, and the government have already failed the Gambian people. The only decent thing to do is to resign and leave, but that's not going to happen. then we should not bank on anybody resigning in that government. And even the entire government resigning, it's not going to be the solution to our problems. That's why we should be very careful of how we deal with our issues, to make sure it's factual, make sure it's logical, make sure that we engage the silent majority in order to make sure we have a meaningful change. The opposition have not proven that they are an alternative as they are. Until they prove that, I'll tell you, moving Barrow from office does not mean that we'll have our desires. This is my position, and as you said, we cannot even elaborate more on this due to the time factor, because we have other two topics to deal with. Ahmad.
Yeah, but Ben, major media outlet like QTV, don't you think they are helping the government, to compromise the position of the media? You already elaborated on how this local media is being used as
Yeah.
a PR machinery for the powerfuls and the government, instead of serving the common good. But we have the case of
Yeah.
Sergio Brito, and you mentioned Daraji and also Pasamba case. But personally, I have experience with QTV. We investigated this black sand mining in
Mhm.
Sanyang. I was physically, confronted during that. But for some reason, before we even left, they called this lady. Somebody was talking to her. Like she's warning her. The coverage never come. So what do you think the like of QTV? What are they trying to gain here? It's like they are promoting self-censorship. They are the powerful ones. If we are seeing them in this kind of compromised position, what do we expect from the smaller ones?
Ahmad, one should not be surprised. Any private business that thrived under the dictatorship is a enabling factor. Any private business, for that matter,
Mhm.
that money should be, expanding under a dictatorship. That business is part of the dictatorship, and this is what they do. These people lack the integrity, and these are the same people. I mean, I mean, the level of corruption that Mr. Ja and others are involved in. They don't care about the people. All they care about is they are with any government that comes in. I made a post a few days ago. I said that until we appoint a competent, until we elect a competent president who would not take kickbacks, and that president to have a cabinet that doesn't take kickbacks, the change will not happen, because these people are in the process of corrupting. The corruption does not only happen, with ministers, they have other people taking the part. It's a transaction, and the biggest enabler of that transaction is the big businesses. Then that's what trickle down to the last person on the ground, the police traffic warden, or somebody else roaming, to find this, because of the corruption. They don't care. They don't care. They will do anything to keep Barrow in power, because Barrow is giving them what they want. But
Yeah,
if
Ben,
they
and
have seen any
also,
sign,
mm,
I'll tell you, if they have seen any sign that Barrow is not going to pull off this, right now, I can bet, I've not got the proof, but I can bet they are giving money to other opposition parties. That's another reason. That's why you don't hear the opposition holding them accountable. They go to bed with they hedge their bets. That's what they do. They hedge their bets in order to control the status quo. We have to hear the political parties radically calling out companies and holding them accountable. Can anybody give me the reason why,
yeah,
with all this thing going on, we don't hear
yeah,
the opposition? With all this thing going on, we don't hear the
anything,
press.
yeah.
Just go and look at the press reporting in the Gambia. Go and see the press reporting in the Gambia. And it does not stop in the Gambia, in the diaspora here. Platforms in the diaspora here are created by the likes of Mohammed Dia and the likes of Barrow and others. They have their agents. Someone like Panjai Girigara is controlling platforms in the diaspora here for Barrow. We know about that. He have been doing that for Yaya Jammeh. He did that for every political party he have supported. This is the problem we have. That's why we need to make sure the people that call themselves independent, people they say that call themselves that they're not interested in politics, should stand up and get themselves involved in politics. And when they involve in politics, make sure that that political party represent their interests. If not, what we're going to have is just a fake democracy. Is Ahmad Manjang would replace, and just to do even worse than Barrow, or to serve the same people. And the average Gambian would continue into their poverty. The youths will continue in their misery. The women will continue suffering. The rural community will continue suffering until it will not hold anymore. And that country will be destabilized. And that's the time they regret what have they done. I've been giving them these examples. Every country that it happened. In Sierra Leone was the same thing. In Liberia was the same thing. Ivory Coast was the same thing. And Gambia, we are treading towards that dark alley. We are treading towards that dark alley. We are worse off today than we had 2016. 2016, we had an opportunity and we threw that opportunity. Now we are going back to the woods. And if people said, I've not regretted at all removing Yaya Jammeh, because I know Barrow will try, but Barrow might be corrupt, but Barrow will make sure that Barrow cannot, turn here to be a Yaya Jammeh in other form, because Barrow is going to leave office before 2021 or in 2021. And mark my word for that.
Yeah, this is just a comment. Like the case of fisheries minister,
Yeah.
this guy was clearly seen in an uncompromising position. But he's shocking. The local press, nobody pick on it. It's left to the
No.
likes of Nyanjai to go
Yeah.
after the fisheries ministry department, taking them on.
Yeah.
But where is the media? Why? Why are they so quiet about this? I'm going to read from the viewers about this. Then we go to the next segment. First, Ansumana Dabo said, this is a clear manifestation of how this government is going to use Jammeh tactics to suppress the critics, the citizens. And again, Ansumana Dabo, Gambians don't have journalists. In any country where journalists are robbing soldiers with the authorities, citizens will be failed to have information. The PR service within the media is a clear manifestation that we don't have investigative journalism. This is one area maybe the 15 million should be invested on, like the media college, they have whatever, unbuilt capacity. Rather than giving money to journalists, actually compromise them. And Sana said it again. At the end of the day, the press is being gagged in this country like it was on the Yaya Jammeh, and they have started arresting journalists from the very moment they had set the foot in Banjul. So this is situation that we are running out of time. So I'm going to go to the next segment. Ben, now is clear we're going to have foreign militaries guiding our president or giving us security, for 5 years, come 2021, when we have a standing army. How can you explain that? A country with an army with and been outsourcing the security. What do you think the long-term effect of this in our security sector?
Ahmad, you are saying this as if you are surprised. Have you seen
I
any
am. What I
indication?
talked about before. 5 years definitely surprised me. 5 years, you
Okay.
know. Yeah.
I said this before, that Barrow would have to leave before Ecomoc leave the Gambia. If Ecomoc leaves Gambia, I predict that within 6 months, if Barrow is the president, that country would be completely destabilized. I am not talking about a coup d'etat. It might end up to a coup d'etat, but the country will be destabilized. What I mean is, The presence of ECOMIC is serving as a barrier, but it's not a total solution. It's not a total solution. If economic presence is not in the Gambia, Gambia will be destabilized. I am in for ECOMIC to leave the Gambia, but I am not in for ECOMIC to leave the Gambia in this present situation. There's a lot that needed to be done. And Barrow, it's not the person, or someone like Barrow, it's not the person that can be in the reign of, in the State House and determine the security of that country. Security is about good governance. Security is about effective governance. The level of corruption and incompetence of this government, it's a national security issue. I am not surprised. You have seen the COVID. Have you seen the Gambia army in any activity that you expect an army to perform in a national emergency? Go and look at the Constitution, what the Constitution said about what the role of the army in a national emergency. Have you seen them do anything? The only time they will use an aspect of the army is when they want to, just as they did during the 3 years judgment. They use the army, part of the army, and embed them within the PIU to assault the people. That's all what they're good for. Can anybody tell me, with all this pandemic, have we seen the army playing a role? You see, it cannot be logical for a country not to have an open conflict, but manage to keep foreign troops for 5 years. It's a contradiction. You have to tell us what is going on. There's no threat of foreign invasion for the Gambia. Why do we need ECOMIC in our country? If Gambia was to be destabilized, Gambia would have been destabilized when the junglers were released. But the junglers are roaming the country. You have never had a jungler been attacked with all the things they did to the Gambian people. The enablers or some of the other junglers are serving and promoted. Have you had anything happen in the country? You think the presence of ECOMOC would have stopped that? No. ECOMOC cannot police that. This is matter of the lack of reforms. The reform completely failing. You cannot justify a reform for 5 good years. Yes, reform can go on, but any tangible, not one tangible, nothing absolutely. There's nothing that they can point on to say that within the 3 years we've done this. Within 2 years we've done that. The troop sizes are even getting bigger. The ranks are getting more. They're duplicating the ranks without responsibility. What's the reform here? The budget of the army is been expanded. When you constitute a reform, you have an objective. What was their objective? Why their objective? Now, if they had an objective, what have they achieved? You have to measure something in order to know or to determine whether it has improved or not. What are we measuring onto this reform? I give you a case here in Ethiopia. Ethiopia have the biggest army. Ethiopia have the most complex army. Ethiopia have been ruled by dictators all these years for a generation. Ethiopia had a president who is pragmatic. Ethiopia was, technical, was in a war with Eritrea. Ethiopia had a skirmish in the southern border with Somalia. Technically, the country was in war. What happened? In 3 months, 3 to 6 months, the tangible results were delivered. In what way? They negotiated and settled the conflict. That was one of the biggest achievements, because they knew that they cannot justify reducing the army. They cannot justify reforming the army in any other sense. The war is going to justify spending. What they did, they managed that. They settled the war. Peace returned. Now that they cannot justify spending. Reforms have to be led. The other thing they did, they settled the dispute, whether temporary or what, within the Somalian borders. Again, there are internal conflict on land and other issues. They took land from some of the so-called investors and gave it back to the communities they took it from. They did a reconciliation, because that's what a reconciliation is, because communities were fighting wars among each other. Now, once they settle these things, have a reconciliation within those communities, now you justify again no need for that security. No need for that security. But after that, what did they do? They went and prosecuted people that were accused of human rights violation. Some others left the country. They went and prosecuted people who were accused of corruption in the army and other institutions. And they rely on their diaspora, and in order to make these reforms work. Within 6 months, they have improved their governance. Yes, with all the challenges, they are managing, and they having a better future today. Within 6 months. How can you justify? Let's talk about the armed forces. Because the armed forces is the major factor here. Yes, the police have a problem and they need reforming. But the armed forces is only 7,000 people. They want to tell me that they don't know how to deal with 7,000 people? When they came in, they had the momentum. They did an encampment. All the Gambian soldiers were encamped. They did a disarmament. All the Gambian soldiers were technically disarmed. All the heavy weapons were put beyond use. Now you have an advantage. What can they do? You have a legitimacy. You are voted in. You have a standardized force. The ECOMOG was present. If you had a metric system, one, don't start politicizing it. But they started the minute they appointed Masani Kinte. And I came out and I said it, and I said to them that everything would be failed. I said it would fail the minute they appointed him. I had attacks everywhere because I knew what I was alluding to. If someone is part of the problem, you don't expect them to fix the problem. Yes, they have a role to play, but you don't expect them to lead in fixing that problem. They will be conflicted. That's what you call a conflict of interest. That would call the person is compromised. You have a metric system in place. One, if you go for people, listen to the testimony of the TRRC. Literally, it's the same people being called. It's the same names. Now, that's easy to deal with. All these allegations, all the testimony of the TRRC, we had that. That was enough to have a panel to investigate and arrest all these people and prosecute them. Yes. That's nonsense to say that if you prosecute them, problem, it's a lie. If they could have created problem, how come Yahya Jammeh was prosecuting them? Did they create problems for Yahya Jammeh? then people don't understand what security is. Yes, there's a way you do it. The corruption in the army is one of the most corrupt institutions you will ever have. The procurement, their accounts, they had all the problems and it's still going on. If you go for and prosecute all the corrupt people, then the third factor is regimentation. Now you find out, you audit how did they achieve their promotions. But you will find out that literally 90% of people high current senior ranks have not gone to a proper regimentation. And these are the issues. But the major factor is, what do you do with the rest? What you do with the rest is, that's where the policy comes in. You already have a policy. You did your assessments and find out, this is what I want to do with them. But one thing is completely clear: Gambia does not need an armed forces. Let me say this clear. I'm not saying Gambia doesn't need an army. Well, you call it an army or whatever you want to call it. We need something that would do certain things, and those certain things are depending on the assessment. And most of those things are of internal matters, and they are of natural disasters, or being progressive, taking the army as a pathway to create skills and develop the citizens, the citizens of that country. That's what it's all about. Tell me an aspect of this reform that have featured anything of this. One aspect of what I call about reforms here, and every country you go to, that's what you have. United Kingdom have closed how many barracks in Germany? Because they don't need it anymore. Because of what the realities have changed. Yes, Russia is still a threat, but the war is not going to be about soldiers going into tanks and fighting. It's more to do with governance. It's more to do with spying. It's more to do with technology. They invest their money there. It's more to do with the Navy. It's more to do with the Air Force. These are the issues. Something have to inform the reform. Something have to inform this reform, but they cannot articulate. These people want to maintain the status quo. They want to maintain an armed forces. For what? Who are we going to fight? Gambia can never defeat any country on our earth. If you understand warfare, we don't have the economy, we don't have the population. You need the economy to fight a war. You need the strength to fight a war. And you need a reason to fight a war. We don't have any reason to fight a war. The nature of our physical security is there. And that nature of that physical security, it's good governance that would have to deal with it. Yes, there's an aspect of physical security, but it's not the magnitude that we are spending money on. We are wasting money, and that money could have been spent better on Gambians. And this is not a statement against the people serving the army. This is a statement against the leadership of that army. This is a statement about the failed institution. I am talking about the people, the citizens of that Gambia, to be treated better. And those are the people in the armed forces, just as people in the marketplace, in schools, or anywhere else. Every institution have to be run better. Every institution have to be run based on need and invested as much as we can afford, but not to waste the money into the armed forces when we need to put money into skilling up our youths, rather than taking our youths, training them to be hired killers. That's literally what we're doing. Ahmed.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think what you just said, just some of today, Uncle Sidi Sane wrote on his timeline. We have a transitional president who turned out to be a transactional, president. I think that sum it up. So we effectively wasted 3 years, and it's going to be 5 years. This what they come up to do. In fact, they're going to use those failures to justify them, themselves continue. Indeed, it's very sad. What a waste of time. In that regard, Sana said, he said, the so-called junglers are meant to be in mile two. However long it might take, the next government, but discuss iron fit dictator in Jamia will answer to every single crime ever committed on us. Yaya must pay the ultimate price. And Asis Bojang, Uncle Asis Bojang said, good point, brother Suleiman. He can agree more with you. Say something that can you justify that Gambia does not need armed forces? Somebody is disagreeing with you.
I hope
One
Ahmad,
by money.
Ahmad, Ahmad, I hope they understand what an armed
Yeah.
forces is, because right now it's a distortion.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a distortion.
Yeah.
You cannot even equip a navy. You cannot equip an air force. What's an armed forces here? What is an armed forces here? Do we even have a functional navy? Do we have anything resemblance of an armed force? I mean, air force? You see, people have to be realistic. Because of carrying ranks and everything, that's not an army. And if you have an armed forces, who are you going to fight? Do you know what an armed forces is for? Can we fight Senegal? Can we fight Guinea-Bissau? Do we have any reason? Who are we? Where's the threat? An army serves a threat. In Sweden, their defense policy is for them to manage, to hold back if in case of any attack comes from the east, from Russia, to hold them back for 3 months. It's realistic that within 3 months something will come in and save them, and that's based on evaluation. But they would keep on evaluating that, and then they think of, how do we do this? There are many countries in this world that doesn't have an armed forces, because they don't need to have an armed forces. We can go on.
Yeah, and finally, just to remind this guy, we are sealed by Senegal anyway. So anybody who want to fight us, you have to eliminate Senegal first before you reach us. Until you through the, we have 10 minutes. I think you'll do justice to these final important segments. Countries are trying to open up. Countries are trying to give carrot sweeteners for people to visit. But yesterday we've seen, or 3 days ago, an announcement on Gunjur News Online that the airport, is going to be charging Gambians visiting. Anyway, any visitors $20, and when you leave $20, and these include Gambians. But what do you think the government is trying to achieve here? And this is not the first time. I think there was something like this which they backtracked, but it's back on again. And also, what I want you to have, why collecting this money physically, at the airport?
Ahmad, yes, we had this in the time of Yahya Jammeh. It was called environmental tax, and after it was called airport improvement tax. It was just full of corruption. Money came in and just went to Yahya Jammeh. What did it? What happened? It ended up been causing people avoiding to travel to the Gambia because of this tax, and they realized that they abolished it. Now, ask yourself, why is it been? What is the tax for? The levy, what is it for? Ahmad, is it in fact legal? We have to ask that. If it's gone through Parliament and Parliament approved this, I've never heard about this being debated in Parliament. They should justify what it's for. They said it's for added security. If they want to improve their security, look, the airport is generating income. How come the airport cannot be managed in a way that they can pay for their expense? They want to tell us that the airport is not making profit. How is the airport being governed then? I mean, that's one thing about it. It's illegal. Now, you are talking about, even let's argument sake, yeah, we should pay this money. I mean, why do we collect money? We all know that collecting money, physical cash, it's a recipe of for disaster in a corrupt, especially a corrupt country. Because why didn't they not channel this money to go through the ticketing? The amount of money we pay for tax, that's what makes the Gambia a very expensive destination. The airlines are not making that much profit going to the Gambia. Gambia is not a competitive market, but we are even doing worse. But don't be surprised. It's the same country that went and wrecked their only original manufacturing industry, which is the beverage. They managed to wreck that by overtaxation. Deliberately, they wrecked it. Now they are doing the same thing with the airport. It's not efficient at all, even if they needed to do it by collecting this money at the point of entry. The money is illegal to even to be asked. It's not good. It doesn't make any business sense because of the management could have raised money in another way by controlling their expenditure, whatever. But it's all about corruption. And it's been said because of the companies that come in to take these businesses, they all bribe officers. Ahmad, they are not that dumb to accept a contract like this. They are dumb in a way that they think that they are smart. They take kickbacks and give these contracts to go on. But it's going to fail wholly and it's going to affect the Gambia. But again, for the person that was asking me, why don't we need an armed forces? You see, national security, it's not only about physical security. Ahmad, an armed forces is to defend the territory integrity of your people. What is more important in the Gambia? Is it the land mass or is it the people? It's the people and the environment. Is the Gambia government taking care of its environment? No. You see, now, if you talk about national security, that should have been with premium. The environment should be premium. National security. Two, your people. Are Gambian people been taken care of? The health. How many Gambians are dying? They are not dying for being robbed in the streets. They are not dying for, being invaded or anything. In fact, it's the soldiers who would likely to kill than someone coming from outside and kill a Gambian. Since independence, have we ever had forces come out and come in and kill us? No, we kill ourselves. But Ahmad, bad governance. National security is about governance first. I've been saying this. Wars are fight in a different manner. That's why people change their defense policies in order to be in tune and protect themselves. Senegal have built an airport. You see the size of the airport to be a hub. Senegal is giving incentive to airlines to come into Senegal. Senegal is planning for second airport in Casamance. A second airport in Casamance. Senegal is planning a third port in Saloum called Foundiougne. Foundiougne, they're planning a port there. And if they have their airport in Casamance, Gambia, if we are not strategic, that's the end of air travel to Gambia because it would not be sustainable. I'll tell you, airlines would rather go to Casamance. Airlines would rather go to this thing because if you already kill your industry, it's not easy to bring your industry back on. And right now, that's what we're going. Gambia destination, Gambia have the highest, most expensive aviation fuel. And the aviation fuel is not of the best quality. That's why at times, airlines would rather fly into Senegal to refill. How many people have experienced that? From Gambia, they tell you we're going to land in Malta or we're going to land in Senegal to refill. Why didn't they refill in Gambia? The fuel is there, but it's the cost. The landing and handling fees in the Gambia is one of the most expensive in the region. What's the incentive traveling there? And if an aircraft happen to have certain technical problems, it becomes too expensive to fix because we don't have the infrastructure to deal with it. The airline would have to stay overnight. The engineers have to be flown in either from Senegal or anywhere else. It takes time. The profit in airlines is in the turnaround. It's in the turnaround. Now, all this infrastructure are lacking in the Gambia. This is the incentive now. They rather go to Senegal. God forbid, if they have a major problem, if they have a minor problem at the airport in Senegal, they are assured of an engineer to attend and fix it so that they can do a turnaround. The last time in the Gambia, an airline, one of the planes had a problem. It affected the other services. These are the areas we should think of improving to make Gambia an attractive destination. But we don't think like that. You raising taxes does not make sure that you have more money. At times, you lower your taxes, you have more people to consume. And more people travel to Gambia, create more jobs, and people spend more. There are many other things you factored in, but not to raise tax in one area thinking that you are going to get more money. They should have learned their lesson in Julbru. Did they get more money from Julbru? They lost everything. They lost everything. Now it's the airport. Now it's the airport. If we are not careful, Gambia will lose its sovereignty. And it's not because of Senegal have attacked us, not because of Guinea-Bissau have attacked us, because of we had incompetent leaders, and Gambians, conscious Gambians, sit down and watch these incompetent leaders to wreck the country, to wreck our economy. That's why I said it's not about armed forces, it's not about the police, it's about national security, it's about the policy. And how you implement this policy is the strategy that you have. What do the country really need? Ahmad, if you create more jobs, if Gambians have hope, that would have, good governance would have cut the transaction cost on security. Let's put it that way. Now, we expect that to have a weak government like Adama Barrow, that you will ever save on security, or you will ever save your economy. No, something have to give. You cannot have incompetence and corruption and expect a salvation. This is what we have right now. And it's sad when I see people thinking that they're supporting Barrow. And I made a post today. I saw some of these people saying that they're supporting Barrow. We know. You know, you are talking about the journalists being given 15 million. Ahmad, do you know the University of Gambia, students are struggling to pay for your school fees? I mean, university fees. Did they give it to them? Ahmad, did you hear a stimulus for the university? And do you know, as you know, some of the university students are nurses. Some of them are doctors. Some of them are engineers or other things that we need. Did we give them any stimulus? And if I hear these people came out with the excuse, they said it's a visa. Every country have a visa system. What's the meaning of a visa? That someone who doesn't have a right to live in that country now would have to pay a transaction fee to be given the privilege to visit the country, because a visa would still be a privilege to stay for a period of time when you have to renew it or you have to leave that territory. Now, they're saying it's a visa, every country have a visa system. But what about the Gambians being charged to pay for this money? You see, we know most of these people, 90% of people supporting Barrow in this diaspora are paid, they are on a list, or they are families, are the ones wrecking that country. People are not stupid. But if you want to defend the undefensible, they talk about this visa, saying it's a visa. That's how desperate they are. Just as I've seen them taking picture of Barack Obama and somebody, other presidents, napping. But those countries, their presidents sleeping did not affect them. And how many times have we seen that happen? But you have a president that sleeps every time. See, he is in a gathering. You are not concerned what does that person does when he's in the comfortable office with doors locked. You have seen the evidence that your president must be sleeping for the country to be the way it is. No, you still want to justify that and trying to compare rather than look for the best practice. And this is the problem we have. Ahmad, the problem is not them. The problem is us. For us, the Gambians who call themselves to be elites, the Gambians who call themselves to be influential, Gambians who call themselves to be educated, but you allow your country to be wrecked. What else do you have more than your country? You allow the suffering of your people to continue when you don't have to give your life. All you have to do is use your brain and take part and do the right thing, influence other people to do the right thing. You think Adam Barrow would have, or some of these people would have been politics if Gambians who should have been politics are in politics? No. We gave them the space. We gave them the space. And this is my campaign now. I'm telling you, I cannot see anything good or trying to negotiate anything with Adam Barrow. My mindset is looking forward. My mindset always been looking forward. Now today, if you call for Adam Barrow to remove anybody in the office, the fisheries minister, anybody else, he would not do anything better. He will bring another most incompetent or most corrupt to replace him. Can you tell me one person Adam Barrow have appointed, remove and appoint someone better? One person. Not a minister, not a managing director, not any position for that matter. Now, why do people call out for people to resign? What is going to do? Oh, Adam Barrow to sack the person. Adam Barrow is the problem. And it's not only Adam Barrow, but if we elect anybody without the integrity, without the competence, without the right mindset, the Gambia would not get out from what we are, but we are going to be destabilized. And Ahmad, for people advocating for ECOMOG to leave, yes, they should leave, but they should leave under what condition? Hence, Adam Barrow is there. Let's deal with Adam Barrow first. Ahmad, if you have a competent government, ECOMOG doesn't have to be in the country for the next 3 months. The situation can be managed. It's all about good governance and an effective government. 3 months, all the risk factors within the country would be managed. Let's say it would be managed. Because you have to know the priority areas and you know the strategy and have the capable people. Gambians have the capable people to lead any institution. And this is the difficult part of it. When we talk about the army, we are not saying that they are all bad. We are not saying that they are capable people are not within the armed forces. No. When we talk about the police, we don't talk about the police as that they are bad. No, the institution have failed. And you cannot just blame few people in there. No, you have to hold the institution accountable. Even one person does something inside that institution, that person have created that institution into disrepute. That institution have to be held accountable in order to regain the confidence of the people. But this government have lost the total confidence of Gambian people. And if elections are free and fair, Barrow doesn't have a chance of winning 10% of that vote. And I am ready to put my money where my mouth is. I am ready to take a bet that if elections are free and fair, Barrow would not hit a 10% margin. But Barrow would do anything if we let him in order to stay. He is a desperate man, and a desperate man drowning will hold onto a straw. Barrow knows that if he lost the elections, when he loses the election, not if, Barrow would be mad to mile two. Any proper government would match Barrow and his cabal into mile two straight away. No nonsense of TRRC, no nonsense of commissions be operated. We have enough evidence to take them to the courts. And Barrow knows about this fact. Now he's desperate to do this. And he will do anything. But I'll have something for Barrow. If we can stop Yahya Jammeh, I cannot see him becoming anything else. And in Tuesday, I'm going to reveal how incompetent this government is. All they're dealing with the APRC is right in the open. The millions this government have been spending with the APRC, and these are not even the APRC. The so-called PPP, and these people are completely useless. That's why when you hear the PPP starting to, go about, yes, they know what they're going about. Because of literally PPP is part of Adam Barrow. And it's just useless. But they are risking, this is the reason ECOMOG will not leave. Adam Barrow will never have that confidence. But again, the other reason is because ECOWAS is corrupt to the core and ECOWAS is useless. This is the only reason why we have ECOMOG in existence, for that matter. We know that if they have managed to make sure that good governance are ensured in member states, would not have been needing intervention forces in almost every ECOMOG country. Thank you, Ahmed.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are 10 minutes behind schedule, but still I'll give you 1 minute to wrap up, and I'll give you one question from Mukhtar Jallo. You touch on Barrow. We all know how incompetent are, and you also talk about the incapability of our opposition. But Mukhtar Jallo said, but why the MPs are keeping quiet about all these issues? Especially this one. That you can answer that with your closing remarks. Just to read from Carl Bojan said, I wouldn't pay this money, these $20 or $40, in fact, if you are going to come out. And Moro Drame also is saying, with the citizens have to refuse to pay. What to do this money? Yeah, that's what he's advocating. Gambians, we have to be proactive. About 2 weeks ago now, I wrote an article. Why are we so indifferent? These people are blunders upon blunders, but Gambians are not even blinking. I don't get that. And also the academics. Where are the academics?
But the incompetence of this government. If I was advising them to do it, I said if I was advising to do it. But you know why that is in fact difficult? They would have put it in the tickets. But now the stakeholders are resistant to deal with that. They would have a problem to make sure the stakeholders would accept to put it on their tickets. Now they're thinking of putting it this way. Ahmad, how much this government have lost already? Since they announced this thing. How much have they lost? in tourism. You think they would regain that in this year? It's stupid. You don't waste money like this. They've already killed the tourism without even starting. They already killed tourism without starting. People don't even comprehend that. If a family travels to Gambia, family of 4, how much is going to cost them? This is the problems we are facing. They don't think about these things.
That's $1,600. Family 4. That's 4 times
And
40.
now, why would I pay that extra when I have Cape Verde, I have Senegal, I have Guinea-Bissau, I have Ghana? You see, they don't understand they have a competition. The reason I can fly to Spain, I can fly to Italy and other areas is the incentive given. Incentive given to those airports. These regional airports are given incentive because to grow the regional economy. That's why you have cheap airlines traveling to those places, because they are paying less in tax and their facilities. They are not paying that much in charges and handling fees and others. Gambia would suffer because of the climate of the Cape Verde, the Canary Islands, the Senegal. What else do we have more than these people? They even have more than us. They even have more than us right now, who want to travel to the Gambia. Now is the diaspora. You see, this the other strategy these people have thought about is, in fact, how to own an airline and able to have packages that would attract Gambian diasporas to travel with their families. That's the problem with this government. They don't innovate. They don't think of innovation. This government, just look at the ministries. The same ministries Yaya may have, they just came and filled the same ministries. Tell me one initiative, anything innovative this government have ever done for 4 years. The only thing they do is come out with bad laws, come out with initiative that kill this thing. Tell me one, nothing, absolutely. And for Mutar asking the question, why the MPs are quiet? I'm going to put this on logic. I'm going to put this on logic because this question should be asked to MPs. It's 2 things. There's these things about the political parties in parliament fighting each other. You can see a UDP position, you can see a PDIS position, you can see a NRP position, you can see an APR position, everything else. Yes, even PDIS please playing in politics with what is going on in the Gambia. And that's the disappointment, because this was an opportunity for PDIS to take on, to make sure to show that they can be an alternative. But they have not done that, because my logic is they think if they hold Barrow accountable, it's an opportunity for UDP, which is no politics to me. It doesn't make sense for me. 1. 2, most of these political parties or parliamentarians benefit. As I said, the cabal are very smart. The Mohammed Jas, the Suku Singates, the Turo Dabos, the Idijobs, Ja Oil, the mafia is everywhere. And one way of doing it, they look after their interests. In United Kingdom, you've heard about the scandal of brand envelopes and questions. Jonathan Atkins and others, when they were caught, that Al-Fayed and others were bribing them for them to push their agenda. If it happened to United Kingdom, imagine Gambia. You think Ja Oil and all these other people would not make sure they have influence on this parliamentary? And one of the influence, it might not be even money. Now it's like in Gunjur. Tell me why your MP in Gunjur is not holding Golden Lead accountable. We all know that Alaji Conte is part of the Golden Lead mafia. That's why UDP would never talk about Golden Lead. It's a simple fact. It's a simple fact. This is it. That's the transaction. Now, the MP, if Ahmad Manjang is a businessman in Sukuta and very popular in Sukuta, that MP might be scared of taking on Ahmad. You see, these are all reasons. These are all reasons why the MPs are not speaking out. These are all reasons why why government, why the opposition are not speaking out. And Ahmad, I'll tell you another thing. These ministers, most of them, you know, they are talking to the opposition. These people are survivors. Some of these directors, some of these permanent secretaries will speak to a political party. A party like UDP, a party like GDC, a party that is influential, to show empathy, to make them believe that they care about, no, you know, and try to give them something. And if that happens, if you have that relationship, you cannot hold a person accountable. All these things are factors. All these things are factors. And as I'm saying, I'm talking from logic. It's logical. This is what is happening. If this is not happening, can the political parties tell us? Can the MPs tell us why they are quiet with all these things going on? And in order, I don't want to just prescribe something and not give solution. If we want that to change, Ahmad, it's us to change it. People that call themselves independent, people that call themselves silent majority, have to join political parties, have to join movements that will put pressure into the political parties, make sure those political parties are fit for purpose. Make sure those political parties not about the leader, but it's about a leadership. It's about policy, and it's about the Gambia. This thing have to change in order for but the political parties cannot do this without the support of civil society, without the cooperation of civil society. But in the Gambia, this is what happened. You see, civil society would raise issues and politicians will move away. And when they have problem, they expect civil society to come onto their side. We have been saying this. In any country that democracy survive, it's because of the vibrancy of both sectors, the civil society and the public sector. Civil society have to be effective in order for a democracy to survive. If you kill civil society of the public sector and the private sector, they connive and look after each other, and the people will suffer. And when people suffer, it's a matter of time, the people will revolt. And the revolt will come from where it's likely come from the army, because the army is the only institution prepared in able to use that power, and they take that power from anticipating. They anticipate that they will have support from the people. If the army think that the people will not support them, the army will not come out. Or the minute they come out and fail to have that support, the army will go back to barracks. That's why you see this stalemate in Mali today, because civil society is not ready to settle for what the army wants. The army cannot form a government. The army cannot form a government. They are trying to manipulate the situation, but it's not likely to work, because Malians know, the Malian civil society knows what they want. Thank you, Ahmad.
Thank you very much. Rectification. Thank you, farmer. Family of 160, not 1,500 as I put it. Thank you all for your viewing, and you can watch this program in YouTube. You know, Gunjur Online TV. We say it the way it is. Ben has alluded to. We've seen how media houses are self-censoring themselves in the Gambia, how they are turning into PR machinery for the rich and the government. But in Gunjur TV Online, we say the way it is. If you know it is happening or is about to happen, just tell us. We will go and and say it the way it is. The hope of Gambia now rests on media houses like this. And as Ben said, I also use this opportunity to challenge the Gambia academies. We cannot let these sycophants, to continue to run the country. We give them the space. We should deny them that space. If not, we're going to replace Barrow with another Barrow. And Gambia don't have time anymore. The rest of the world, including Guinea-Bissau, they are progressing. Guinea-Bissau now, they live in the economy, whatever, to live. They can handle their situations. So Gambia, we cannot continue to go in a circle, but unless and until the so-called academics, ready to do the heavy lifting, to get their hands dirty, this status quo is going to continue. Thank you all once again for your viewership. Ben, thank you once again.
Thank you, Ahmad.
For giving us your time, and your fans are telling thank you very much, and we really appreciate it. Please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you search us on YouTube, is even easy. Once you subscribe, once the program is on, you will be sent an alert. Thank you all. Allah Barak.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. And you too. Thanks. Bye bye.